Fear is a psychological response to different things. For a lot of us, irrelevant of whether we want to be investors or whether it is that we want to do anything on our own, fear would almost always come into play for anything, like literally anything that we want to do. Something that you're not used to doing, you would, or you should, or you might initially feel fear. You might also have had a bad experience, which would be one of the factors or reasons and ways in which fear would manifest and could then hinder you from being able to move forward from that which it is that your brain is kind of like trying to process and find a way to go. Now you, as a person who instructs your mind and your body to do the things that it is that you need to be able to do, so you are going to be the one that's going to have to instruct your mind to stop being afraid. And here's how you're going to be able to do that with real estate understanding. Now, because fear is literally a result of not knowing how it is you're going to do it, the first thing, again, that you're going to have to do would be to get yourself educated. You have to get educated. You have to have knowledge. You have to break that barrier of, I don't know how, to, I know how, and I want to do it this way. I've learned this way works, and I want to now start investing this way. So sometimes education may also come from seeing somebody else do it or seeing how somebody else does it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you always have to mean that you have gone to take one bachelor's degree or a master's degree in that thing that it is that you want to be able to do. But you've seen somebody, you've heard somebody talk about, well, what it is that they did, and then you are going on to get started with it. You may also have just read articles of what opportunities exist, how it is that other people are doing it, and then you also take that as your cue to actually getting started with getting it done for yourself. So if you're one person who's consistently, or you always feel fear, you need to get knowledge, you need to get educated about it and practice. And when you start to practice, you start to feel more comfortable. By the time you start to feel more comfortable, then you'd find that the fear is reducing. It doesn't go away, but it reduces. Now remember, the Rome was not built in a day. So you also are not going to become a professional or proficient in a day. So the best way for you to be able to get through that phase would be to start small. Find a way that you can actually start with other people. Ask somebody who is either getting started with investing and say, can I invest with you? Or you look for a group of people. Again, co-invest in always helps, because that's literally what you're going to do. And if you don't find somebody who already has a project that you can get involved with, you can just look out for any of the co-investment opportunities that exist, because we are starting to become quite a number in the industry, and you will find at least one deal that has a price point at which you can start from, or just a point where you can start from because you feel comfortable either with the person, the information that they've put out there, or even just with the opportunity. Remember, you're investing for you, so always make sure that your option that you're going to take on would always be something that you know that can work for you. Now, doing that, starting small, I said that also helps to mitigate your risk. So that means that if initially your budget could have been 5 million or 10 million, for example, and you know that you're not ready to use that amount of money or to take chances with that amount of money because you're not yet confident, then you can decide that you're going to start with either a 500k or a 1 million naira, and then you say you're going to start from there. The fact that you're starting smaller doesn't necessarily mean that you are eroding the chances, opportunities for you to be able to, gain or enjoy the dividends of your investment. All you're doing is that you're just starting with a smaller piece, and that will be your focus, because what you're doing is you're trying to build the confidence to be able to do bigger and better deals as you grow and get more confident. There's one thing that a lot of us tend to overlook, and that is people who have failed about it. Because again, we all look at failure as that bad thing, whereas failure should actually be your opportunity to get real-time valuable insights from somebody who has done it and didn't necessarily succeed. So you're going to go in and listen to what they did and find ways it is that they could have done it better. Ask them, because most times they would actually know things that they didn't do enough of, or they didn't do well enough, or they didn't do properly to be able to help them get to that point. And if they're going to be honest with you, you would actually get all that information literally for free, because they feel like they failed. Now you're going to take all of those lessons that they have and information that they've shared and turn them into lessons. If I'm going to do this, then I have to make sure that I'm ready to do this. If I am doing this, or if I have done this, then I should consider the fact that I will need to do this. So you see what it is? You're taking that person's failure and you're turning it into lessons and tips and checkers for things that you should and you shouldn't do, or you know that you will have to do. And that in itself would always help to make you feel more confident of the plan, because you must have a plan and your plan must be solid. If you don't have a solid plan, what that means is that you also are setting yourself up for failure. So your fear of failing is literally going to come to pass because you didn't have a plan. You didn't know what it was that you were meant to do. You didn't have a checklist for all the things that it was that you could do. You didn't have somebody or something that was showing you, if you do this, you probably get into this trouble. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. So chances are that you are going to fail. So you have to have a plan and make sure that you make it solid. And with that plan, make sure that you are being realistic. Realistic in the sense that you have to set realistic goals, realistic expectations, realistic outcomes. You cannot be a learner and then say, oh, I'm going to do a $5 billion deal from the beginning, and then I'm going to be able to earn $2 billion or $2 million, all of that. Off the back of what, my dear? You are going into that deal because you are not sure. Now, if you are then saying you are gaining the knowledge, and then you now start to feel overconfident, your overconfidence in your ego would probably become one of the reasons why you will still fail, even though you have overcome that fear of failure. Now, the fact that you have knowledge, the fact that you have the plan, doesn't also now mean that you should go and overbloat all the things that you're going to do. Remember what they say, plan smart, where you are having specific, measurable, you are having accountable, realistic, and time-dependent goals and outcomes for what it is that you want your plan to be able to do. So again, in building a solid plan, make sure that you're making your plan to be smart. Now, another thing that you need to be able to do would be to build a support network. Your support network can be a variety of people. Could be friends, could be professionals in the industry, could be associates. But you are going to need people, because people are going to always be, one, your sounding block, and that always works for me. When I'm not sure of something that it is that I want to do or I have to do, then I always turn to the people that I consider my sounding block, and I say, I have this idea and this and this and this is what I'm thinking about it. What do you think about it? Now, make sure that your sounding blocks would always be people that at least have some level of information, knowledge, and expertise, or at least an appreciation for this thing that you're going to be talking to. So if you're looking for people that would be your sounding block with real estate, yes, they can be everyday people, because another question that you would be asking would be, would you or could you or do you know what type of people could and would rent or buy this property off of me if I do decide to go into it? So there you have it. You have a couple of reasons and ways in which fear would manifest or could manifest, and you also have some ways in which it is that you can overcome this fear. Till next time, keep implementing.